You guessed it, overnight's back. Welcome to beautiful Melbourne. It feels good to be back doing some travel videos for you guys. So we've just arrived at the airport. Just really want to kind of break down how to get to the city.
On the high side, a taxi to the city will cost you about 50 AUD and will take you about 30 minutes. On the other end of the spectrum, the Smart Bus costs about 5 AUD and takes up to 50 minutes. Once you're in the city, you'll quickly realize that the CBD is quite small and you can use a free tram system. Outside of that, you can buy a flexible Miki card, which will allow you to use the trams, metro, and bus systems to reach the other suburbs. A 7-day pass will set you back 43 Australian dollars. Unfortunately, there are no single ticket purchases.
So we're finally settled in. We were getting a little tired, so we decided to go just straight in the middle of it. We're staying in the Melbourne CBD, so it's extremely central. And then we're at this place called the Arbory. Great drinks, starting in true Australian style with a perfect espresso martini. This fish and chips looks insane. You think that London has the best fish and chips? Some people would actually argue that Melbourne has some really good ones as well. That's big.
Having breakfast here is probably my favorite thing to do. They take it to another level.
So we finally had our first cup of espresso. It's delicious. We're going to be drinking coffee all day long and throughout all the days that we're here, but we couldn't come to Melbourne and not have like one of these really pretty bowls that they have absolutely everywhere, and obviously avocado smash or avocado toast. Now that's a perfect bite.
Everywhere you look, there seems to be a coffee shop. Even before hipster baristas pulling shops were a thing, Melbourne was already doing it right. The world calls it third wave. Here, they've just always known it as coffee.
So we're currently in the Fitzroy area, and it just feels like its own little town. Really artsy, lots of graffiti, lots of laneways. And if you're into coffee, the grains are just fantastic anywhere you go. And Mario's was actually one of the first proper espresso coffee shops. So yeah, it's kind of like a little pilgrimage. If you're into it, pass by Mario's in Fitzroy. The city never lacks in terms of culture. People here love being outside and kind of walking around, and by walking around you see lots of different things that are really interesting. This is the National Gallery of Victoria. Currently you have an exhibition by the MoMA that's happening in after hours, which is really fun. And there's lots of different museums you can choose from. So if art, culture, and history are your things, then this is the type of city for you. Melbourne has this really kind of strong tradition of Italian roots. We're going to explore that in another video where we speak about all the kind of culinary heritages and cultures that you can find in Melbourne. But for the time being, we were just hankering for some pizza, and obviously we've been eating in some restaurants where the prices might seem a little high, but you also have access to slightly more affordable restaurants, and this is one of them, except for the oysters, because those are a little luxury always. And Australia has some of my favorite oysters in the world, so I'm going to try this out. So obviously we're not here to shop, but there's lots of options for people who are looking for maybe some clothes or some handicrafts or some furniture. There's a lot to go around. In the CBD itself, you have Melbourne Central, you have Emporium, which are big shopping malls. They put other options up as well, if in case you need to shop while you're here.
Being strategically positioned, you can indulge in both warm and cold water varieties. So make sure you make it a point to have one proper seafood lunch.
We thought we were just gonna have fish and chips, and then we saw this place and we're like, hey, this looks delicious. And this platter is mega. It's a huge mix of cooked, fresh, raw.
Wine is obviously best paired with food, so we headed to Cutler & Co. for a little bit of both.
That was so good. We just were a little embarrassed to take out the big cameras because it was a very quiet and kind of like dim and intimate place. But the food was just delicious. We had a good time. So right now we are at Temple Brewing Company. We have a selection of all their beers. Oh, that's nice. When all else fails, a good old pub just hits a spot. We got some chicken parmas over here. Basically a fried chicken fillet with lots of sauce and cheese. It always hits a spot. And if you want to be slightly adventurous, we've got a little kangaroo happening. Kangaroo meat. If you haven't tried it, don't knock it. I think what I love most about the city is that there's always something going on, whether it be an arts festival, a music festival, a food festival. There's just something for everyone.